What do most Fortune 500 executives have in common? They learned important lessons on the fields and courts of their high school and collegiate sports teams. This is true for both men and women. Ernst & Young found that a whopping 94% of women holding a C-suite position played sports. Their wins and losses shaped their habits and who they would become. Join me on my journey to sit with some of the brightest executives in the world as we discuss how sports shape their professional trajectory. In partnership with Chief Executive Magazine, the voice of America's CEO community. I'm your host, Don Yeager, and this is Corporate Competitor Podcast. We are back with part 2 of my conversation with co-founder of the Ritz-Carlton Hotel Company, Horst Schulze. If you have not listened to part 1, go back and listen to last week's episode because he shared some incredible stories about growing up in Germany and his introduction to the hospitality industry. We're going to pick up right where we left off. Remember to download our bonus resource at corporatecompetitorpodcast.com/124. The fill-in-the-blank notes and reflection questions will help you set world-class service standards for your team.
I'm offering purpose rather than just function. The chair in which we're sitting is functioning. We are hiring human beings whom we should offer to become part. Aristotle, 3,000 years ago, already said, you cannot be fulfilled unless you have purpose and belonging. Why wouldn't we offer that purpose and belonging? That is why you would join me. Join me for that dream.
You know, speaking of impactful moments in lives, about 25 years ago, you were diagnosed with stomach cancer. That moment changed your life.
Sure.
Cancer survivor myself.
Well, only people who went through it know what it means to be told suddenly you have cancer. And I was not only told I have cancer, I was told I have 10 months to a year left. With a daughter that was 1.5, another one 5, another one 9. It's so traumatic. In that moment, I had to look at my wife. How is she going to survive this? How do my children? In that moment, I simply do what I do with everything. I created a vision to have a long and abundant life. I want to accept it. Of course, then not accepting it meant I went to every doctor looking for somebody to say, you're going to live, and for some reason, he didn't do that. I went to Dana-Farber at the Mayo Clinic to MD Anderson. Everybody said 10 months to a year. What can I do? I didn't just want to give somebody my arm. Besides that, they said, I'm going to die anyway. Instead of chemo, which was recommended, I found somebody who said, if you go on this diet, you're going to live. So I made a decision for life. And everybody said, oh, that must have been so difficult. No. The doctor said, you're going to die. This guy said, you're going to live. So I decided to choose that guy.
Not that difficult.
No, it wasn't so difficult. So I went on a macrobiotic diet by the guru of macrobiotic at the time, Kushi, who wrote, he said, if you go on with a special diet for a year, you're going to live, which was very difficult. But I went on it for a year. The doctor said, in a year, you're going to be dead. Yeah. After a year, sure enough, I didn't have cancer. I had not come back, which they all said it would. He said, if you go on it for one more year, it will never come back. And that now is 27 years going.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Big part of it was your unwillingness to accept the stated outcome. And you kept looking until someone gave you a sense of hope.
That's it. Having a mission toward a higher vision, toward a higher intent, living. My daughter developed very serious brain cancer. She's operated 3 times, chemo and so on. The first thing I did, I went to visit her in Los Angeles to sit down with her and said, let's create a vision around that. From now on, concentrate on a long and abundant life for your children. You're not going for chemo. You're going there to have a long and abundant life. Concentrate on a high intent. and go after it constantly and overcome your pain in getting toward that point. That's not different than your business. Ritz-Carlton, we want to be the finest hotel company in the world. Now let's concentrate what it takes to get there. There will be pain, there will be setbacks, but the concentration is constantly the vision, the purpose of where we want to be. And I keep on reminding her, what you do here is not chemo for a year. It's a long and abundant life.
For your children.
Higher intent. Don't just do things. Wonder, what is my higher intent? So it doesn't become a function, becomes a purpose. You see, the chair on which we're sitting is fulfilling a function. Too many of us just fulfill functions rather than being human beings, but the function having a higher intent.
You know, you say that most companies don't have a vision, that they have a mission.
Yeah.
On a corporate level, what's the difference between a company's vision and their mission?
The mission is what we do. We are excellent in serving and providing and so on. The vision is your dream that will take you as an organization. For me, the mission was that Ritz-Carlton would be in every location seen as the best provider of hotel service and attention to the guest, with a vision to be known as the best in the world. Once I have this vision in my selection of employees, I can offer them to join me in a dream.
Boy.
I can tell them also how they will benefit from that dream. The millennials, for instance, say, what's in it for me? Creating the finest hotel company in the world. That is why you would join me. Join me for that dream. That will give you opportunity, more recognition, honor, everything if we accomplish that together. I'm offering purpose rather than just function. The chair on which we're sitting is functioning. We are hiring human beings whom we should offer to become part. Aristotle, 3,000 years ago, already said, you cannot be fulfilled unless you have purpose and belonging. Why wouldn't we offer that purpose and belonging? And the purpose is our dream to become known as the very best in the world. Our function is to serve better than anybody else so that we can become the best in the world.
And so in that way,
they're connected.
They're circular. They lead one to the next.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, one place where you can truly see the difference between a group of individuals and a true team is in sports. Now, I know soccer, football is your favorite sport.
It is. Yeah.
You're a big fan of German soccer.
Yeah.
What role did soccer play in your childhood and in some of your early learnings about how to be part of a team?
Well, in a team, you're part of a group who have a common objective, and you're helping each other to accomplish that objective. That should be no different in a business. But what happens in a business? Let's say the new employee comes to work in a company and you have orientation. What happens during that orientation? We're giving them the rules of the company. Let them fill out papers and tell them what we expect rather than inviting them to be part of it. Then the manager makes his pathetic team speech. We're a team here. Everybody team. But we're not giving them the objective because we don't even have one. We just know what we do. How can there be a team without an objective? We talk about team and we talk about expectation. We talk about systems. That's all necessary. But there is no objective of common value. A team is a group of people who help each other toward a common objective.
That second part of that phrase is so important, is that it's not just a common objective. It has to be of common value. It has to be something that we all will benefit from.
Oh, absolutely.
Because that is the beauty of sports. Common value is we get to win.
That's right. That's right.
Is there a soccer story where you've watched a team that's actually found that common objective and been able to do something special?
A couple of years ago, I forget even the name of it, the English champion, never thought they could do it, but they got together. For that year only, in the next year, they dropped down again. Their technique was not that good. But watching them playing, they worked hard. They had a common commitment, the commitment to help each other. You could see they respected each other. They weren't selfish in what they were doing, and they were winning. Amazing to see that they went against teams like Manchester United, Manchester City, and were winning, even though they were technically not even close to them.
It's fascinating, yes, when you can come together.
Yeah.
And it's funny, one of the questions we have often asked on this podcast is that too many organizations, too many business leaders use the word team when really they're not.
Yeah. It's not a team. They're not, they just happen to work there. You hired them to fulfill a function, not to join your team.
Right.
That's it.
As long as they fulfill that, it's hard to get rid of them.
Yeah.
So what is it about soccer that so inspires you? It's a sport that many people in the United States struggle to enjoy because there's no scoring, or it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah.
Why do you find it so beautiful?
Well, I saw a game yesterday that had no score. It was one of the better games I've ever seen.
Just crazy.
Yeah. The beauty of the technique, the art of the game. Not for nothing, they call it the beautiful game. It's just beautiful. For somebody who played soccer from maybe 3 years old, you start kicking the ball. In fact, at the time when I started with 3 years, we didn't have a ball. We kicked the can around. Having a ball would have been a miracle at the time after the war and so on. But in the street, you grow up with it. You have a different thinking about the beautiful game than just who's going to win, who's going to lose.
Was there ever a coach that you had who was inspiring to you?
That Maître D, I see him and a few other people as my life coaches that impacted me, that coached me to think higher, if you will, in what I'm doing. And I met the dishwasher years ago, a young man by the name of Situ. When he watched dishes, he was so excellent, I wanted to promote him. And he said, not yet, because I haven't perfected my job yet. He came to be excellent as a dishwasher. In fact, he refused a promotion because he wanted to perfect his washing dishes.
Right.
I eventually convinced him to be promoted and had him with me for a number of years and promoted them on to higher levels.
Boy, it is hard to find that mindset. How can you recruit that kind of talent? What are you going and looking for when you're trying to draw that kind of talent to you?
Pretty sophisticated in how we selected employees. And we were relentless not to just hire, but select. I can only put it in simple words. We selected people who were intelligent enough to understand that they're not just working, they're finding themselves for their life in their work. Where else would you do it? While you watch TV at home? I mean, why wouldn't people understand that? We had a very careful selection process to identify, first of all, do they have the talent for a specific job category? Do they have the talent to understand is of value to them if successful, etc., etc.? So we were pretty careful, very careful in our orientation. We didn't teach what to do the first 3 days. We taught them who we are. We re-invited them to be part of who we are. We explained them why and how they gain values by joining that thinking. Number 1, select. Number 2, orient. Number 3, teach. And number 4, sustain.
The 20 days.
Yes.
I love that idea that you wanted them to be intelligent enough to realize that they were not just working, but they were defining themselves through their work.
That's right.
Wow, that's powerful. You get an opportunity while here to define yourself.
Yeah, it goes back to this Maître D, who I saw was defining himself as a man of excellence. When I wrote that essay that night, I realized, wait a second, I can define myself. Even if I was a dishwasher, I can still define myself as a man of excellence as I am working, wherever I spend most of my waking life. That's where I can define myself. And that is work.
Mm.
It's not watching TV. I can't define myself there. But I can at work, no matter what I'm doing, I can still establish I'm a gentleman, I'm a lady. I can still do that.
66 years since you wrote that paper.
Yeah.
Since you earned your A.
Yeah.
How do you define your drive for excellence even today? What are you doing today that might be even a little different than it was yesterday or last year to try to continue to tweak and push for excellence?
Nothing more than be conscious of it. Conscious when I accept a speech. I very consciously say, okay, who is that I'm speaking to? How can I go in there and really deliver them something? Then for me, everything, it's again, I make then the decision to deliver something that people can feel good about and can use. I'm not just going in there to speak. I'm going to go into that speech or whatever I'm doing, doesn't matter, and say, okay, how can I really give something? How can I be of value to the people who are in this room? I'm more conscious of it, much more conscious of it. I make a deliberate moment of a decision to create excellence in that delivery, for example. Whatever it is I'm doing, my consciousness of it is very deliberate.
Horst, I mentioned that I'm a fanboy of yours right from the very beginning. I love what you stand for. I love what you share. I love your book.
Thank you.
I love this idea that you are consistently looking to find new and creative ways to give something to others to make sure that they leave your presence better than they were. And I am absolutely convinced you did that for us today.
Oh, God bless you. Thank you.
I'm honored that we had this chance to have this conversation. And I'm grateful that you've been with us as a corporate competitor.
And for me, it would be really fulfilling if I would know I really had reached somebody.
My guess is that we'll have many comments, but I promise you, just from this side of the microphone, you've reached me.
Thank you so much. I'm honored. God bless you.
The goodness was so rich, then we had to divide this conversation into two. And the lessons out of this section that really caught my attention were, first and foremost, his discussion about the difference between mission and vision. Mission is what we do. Vision is what you dream about as an organization. And I love the way Horst talked about his goal as a leader was to offer employees to join me in a dream, offer purpose, not just function. What a great way to bring your team along with you. Then secondly, when he talked about the importance of onboarding, most onboarding is done to teach new employees what they're supposed to do. And instead, he uses onboarding at Ritz-Carlton to teach who we are. What a gift that is to an employee to begin realizing who you are is far more important than what you do. And then finally, I loved his discussion about don't hire, select. When you're looking at talent, don't just hire, select. Look for teammates who are intelligent enough to realize they're not working, but defining themselves through the quality of their work, through the excellence of what they do. Excellence is what Horst Schulze is all about. It is what this conversation has been all about. And I hope you leave here today ready to head out, inspired to be more excellent. If you could share one habit, one thing you've done consistently that allowed you to separate yourself from your competitors, what would it be? In my 30-year career, 2,500 of the greatest athletes, coaches, and leaders answered that question for me.
This is Don Yeager, who did that that article I was telling you about.
Don, Dave Sims with Coach K. How you doing?
Hey, Don. How you doing, my man? Great, sir. How
What they gave to me is what I'm giving to you in my online course, Journey to Greatness. Through engaging storytelling and on-demand videos, you will learn the 16 habits that will jumpstart your personal growth. I will instruct you on how to apply these winning characteristics to your life through custom workbook exercises. We are slashing the price for our podcast listeners. Lifetime access to Journey to Greatness is normally $399, but for our podcast listeners, it will be $49 with the code podcast at checkout. Click the banner on corporatecompetitorpodcast.com to enroll. Thanks for listening to the show. I would be so grateful if you left us a rating and a review. We will be rolling out a new episode every Wednesday. To be the first to listen, subscribe to the podcast on our website, corporatecompetitorpodcast.com. Plus, as a thank you gift, you will receive a free chapter from one of my best-selling books on the habits of high-performing teams. Stay in touch by connecting with me on social media at Don Yeager, Yaeger, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Until next week, I appreciate you.